Here in Warwick, in Warwickshire, on a Monday afternoon. It's about 12 miles into my walking, and delighted here to join, or to have Chris Lewis of the Warwickshire Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner join me. With the office right behind us here,
Number
Chris.
3, isn't it? Number 3.
Number 3. And so we're going to have a bit of a walk around Warwick, Chris. We're going to head over the road shortly and round the churchyard, and then we're heading off to Warwick Castle. I should have said, I would say now, you're a member of the OPCC staff,
Yes.
and so we're going to talk a bit about
That's right.
the office,
Yes.
and a bit about your own background, and then into wider matters as well. So
Indeed.
let's press on. We're going to cross the road,
we go.
once we're safely across, just tell me a little, if you would, about the OPCC, the Office of the Warwickshire Police and Crime Commissioner.
Well, I'm one of about 5 officers who work on policy, research and development for the PCC, so we're like in a supporting role to him. In total, I think there's about 12 of us in the office all told, involving our head of corporate comms, admin support team. So I think we'd find, in the overall scheme of things, we're probably one of the smaller PCC offices.
I think by some margin, actually. There's certainly, because I think Warwickshire OPCC has about 10 to a dozen staff. Some of the others have, easily double and more than that.
And for me, it's the classic Warwickshire experience. You tend to have to be a jack of all trades to cope with the work, but we've just had a couple of office meetings at the time with the recent elections to review where we're at, workloads, and it's the absolute classic. The workload just seems to keep increasing, and the chief exec is probably going to instigate a bit of a restructure and just a rethink about how we do things, because demand exceeds supply is the bottom line of it, and particularly with the current review of PCCs, we're just going to turn left. We think there's more coming down the track.
I think there certainly is. So let me go first here, and then down into very much quieter area here, attached to the churchyard. And if I just spin the camera around, bluebells, loads of bluebells in that area there. We're going to see something of Warwick Castle a little bit later.
We are.
And what's the church behind us?
This is St Mary's.
St Mary's. We've
This is the
slightly
county
lost
church.
We'll have a look perhaps, but
We could come back there. It's a beautiful church, very, very old church, a lot of history to it. I know the vicar, Vaughan Roberts. We did a nice piece of work with him last year to do with remembering road traffic victims. We did a memorial service, and Vaughan, who lives in the vicarage just by there, played a fantastic role in helping that come about,
which touches on one of your own
It does.
areas of, in fact, both traffic related matters and
victims.
So tell us a bit about the work then that you do for the OPCC.
Okay, so as policy, research and development, we all have portfolios, and my portfolio, the principal parts of it are to deal with victims of crime, victim of road trauma, that takes up quite a large chunk of my work. I do other work on Gypsy Roma traveller issues, and we also do what we call casework. A lot of people like to write to us, so all that has to get apportioned, and quite often quite serious issues get raised which have to be researched and so on. But by and large, victims of crime, roads police and road safety issues is what takes up most of my time.
And do you find that you do quite a bit of work with your equivalents in other OPCCs, or are you focusing primarily on Warwickshire?
Primarily on Warwickshire, but we are in regional conversations and national conversations. Tomorrow there's an APCC National Victims Portfolio Group, which I take part in, which is really useful. So yeah, we have national, regional conversations, but at the end of the day the focus is in Warwickshire, obviously.
And I guess these days it's much more along the sort of Zoom type call rather than Goodness knows whether it'll end
Yeah.
up meeting up again, but time will tell.
I would hope so. I think the best meetings are, it's like today, we're interacting, but I think Zoom, Microsoft Teams has been a revelation. It's taken the mystery out of working from home, and I think provided you've got the right technology and the platforms work for you, it absolutely brings a new positive dimension. But at the end of the day, you can't beat this, can you?
The meeting individuals, meeting as we've now become
Yeah,
friends again,
absolutely.
and you can't beat it. This is
No.
the first day, actually, of course.
It
It's
is.
the first day. The
May the
first day
17th.
where May the 17th we're recording
Yeah.
this on.
Yeah.
So we've actually just been in a coffee shop,
We have.
which has been an enormous treat. For those outside the UK, May the 17th, the first day
Absolutely.
that's here in England. It's slightly different in Wales and Scotland and
Yes.
Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
but here in England that we're actually allowed back in
And we haven't got a mask on
to
either.
restaurants. We haven't, and we're able to
It's normal.
talk, and it's getting that way. It's getting that way. So what we'll do then, we'll just walk back towards the church, I
Yes,
think.
by all
And
means.
tell me, I'm interested whether the traffic responsibilities or the victim side.
Yeah.
Is there one particular area that that you find most fascinating at the moment? The biggest opportunity for you and the OPCC to have a positive impact?
Oh, wow. Let me say this. In terms of the victims of crime work, what that largely boils down to is I managed the contracted service that we've issued to the organisation Victim Support. So I work very closely with Victim Support to
Yes.
ensure that we offer support to as many victims of crime as we can in Warwickshire.
Yep.
Would you like to go around?
We'll go this way.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely.
And what that means is that we can't offer support to every single victim. We do have to prioritise, but what we put all our energies in is to those who are most vulnerable, all victims of violence, all victims of hate crime, all victims of burglary, those who are particularly vulnerable for whatever reason, age, any of the protected characteristics. All our energies go into ensuring we offer support to people from those crime groups. But at the end of the day, if you experienced a relatively low level crime but you felt that traumatised, we would offer support, no problem at all.
And how different is it from what it was before police and crime commissioners came along, do you think?
I personally think it's far more professional, it's far more organised, it's far more business-like. It's a contract. The current contract with Victim Support is for 3 years with an option to extend by 2 years in maximum, and it's subject to performance management. Whilst we have a very good relationship with Victim Support, should go right just
Yes,
to the front
carry
of
on.
the church. And but nonetheless, it's a paid-for service. We spend about £500,000 a year in that area alone on supporting victims. So it's a business. It's run very efficiently, but at the end of the day, the victims come first.
And perhaps clearer for victims who it
Absolutely.
is that they can contact.
Absolutely.
Over and above the police, they can contact the police and crime commissioner and his or her staff
Yeah.
in order to get the support that they feel they need and wish for, and indeed to have their concerns or indeed plaudits about the policing support they're
Absolutely.
getting properly expressed. What we'll do, let's just head over the road here.
Yeah.
No traffic, and we'll just, if we head down the road right in front of us, we'll just
This
see
is
if we can
Old Square,
catch
Warwick.
the
We'll turn
church in the
left.
background.
Yeah, absolutely. That church tower is visible from. You can be in parts of Stratford-upon-Avon and see. If you're driving towards Warwick, you can see this tower. It's a real landmark.
I was coming in earlier today from the Stratford direction,
Yeah.
and it's very visible on the skyline. It's a very distinctive,
Yeah,
very distinctive square tower, isn't it?
absolutely.
Now we're heading towards Warwick Castle now.
We're going to turn left here.
So we're going to turn left. It's a little walk, I think, isn't it? So, so let's see how we go. If we find that we are getting into traffic noise and the like, then we may well put the camera
Try and keep
on
it to the
pause.
quieter bits.
Let's see how we go. So,
I didn't answer all your question, by the
well,
way.
carry on, please. I'll go ahead here because we're just going down a narrower bit, and if I just go here.
So I think what I've said about victims of crime, we've come a long, long way compared to previous times. But in terms of the other side of victims, people who tragically die on our roads, those who get very seriously injured, we're currently part and parcel, I think, of a big national discussion around whether enough gets done for people who find themselves in those tragic situations. And there are a good number of us out there who believe there is a little bit of an anomaly, in the sense that, without being too controversial, but the government provides PCCs to provide victim care support to those who are victims of crime, but there are anomalies in respect of if you were to die on our roads or if you were to be seriously injured. It doesn't always neatly fall into being a victim of crime. So I'm part of a review group at the moment looking at what we do and how we do it. But I think, broadly speaking, we need to do more to support those families who have lost loved ones, or indeed you've become seriously injured in a catastrophic crash or something like that. Proud to say in Warwickshire we've got a pilot project on the go at the moment with Brake, the road safety charity Brake, whereby we do offer specific support, working with Warwickshire Police family liaison officers, but we have an individual from Brake who gives that additional emotional support, practical support, just to play some role in trying to get people's lives somewhere back to a normal situation, dare I put it that way.
We were talking just before we started filming over a cup of coffee. In fact, in the very place we're just going past, there's a coincidence. It was in that very place there. We were, and you were saying that this coming Friday, you're going to be walking. No, I beg your pardon, running.
Yes.
With a former Met officer who's now in Lincolnshire, who I think takes the lead for, am I right, leads for NPCC on roads policing matters, or is
crashes, yeah,
on fatal crashes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we're talking of Andy Cox. Andy, I've been following Andy on social media for a good while now, and I always liked what he was saying about roads policing, road safety issues. He headed up as a detective superintendent in the Met a lot of the Met's response to road safety, roads policing, and anyway, a couple of months ago he announced that he was going to run. Let's turn right here.
We're turning right into Castle Street.
Yeah.
And so yes, carry on please.
That's okay. He was going to run from the site of the believed first ever fatal crash in the UK by the Crystal Palace in South London.
Just starting to rain, so if you want to put your brolly up, that's
You Bernard. Yeah, up to the National Arboretum Memorial at Olrowas in Staffordshire. So as soon as he announced, and that he would be supported by another high-profile road safety charity, Road Peace. But as soon as he announced it and sort of outlined his route, I could see that he was going to come through Warwickshire. So I just dropped him a note to say, yeah, I'd love to run with you. When you come through, well, things have progressed and the man is on the road as we speak. I think he's somewhere around Bedfordshire at the moment.
Well, so my former home county, and so there we are. That's where we're
part of
heading.
the
So that's
castle.
part of the castle there.
Right. Yeah.
And so you'll be joining him in Warwickshire, which, given that he started at the site of the first ever fatal road accident, I think you said,
Yes.
down in the South London area.
Yes.
And he's heading up to Staffordshire.
Yes.
So he's pretty. By the time he gets here, he'll be roughly 2/3 of the way. I'm going to estimate.
That's about right. Yeah.
So, what, aiming to be there on this coming Sunday, perhaps? So
I think so. Yeah.
something like that.
He's doing about 12 miles a day. Running.
Well, he's doing 12 miles running. Is a half marathon a day.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's not bad at all. So the rain is beginning to set in a little more.
There's some blue sky.
There is some blue sky today. When I set out from near Stratford upon Avon, I honestly thought I was going to spend the whole 12 miles or so
Yeah.
walking in, if not torrential rain, certainly heavy rain. It's not been that bad. It's been, 3 hours at least of lovely sunshine, no rain. But then it's got worse, and we're just getting a bit of a. I think the shower will go fairly soon.
I think it will. I think it will.
So we've got. That's clearly not the castle wall that we're walking alongside at the moment, but it's the wall to the castle grounds, I
Yeah,
guess.
there's a car park behind there.
And and then sort of a tree area. Yeah, watch your footing.
Thank you.
One of the things that struck me with the walks to date, we published the first walk with Sean Sawyer, Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall. We published that first walk just over the weekend,
Turn it right.
and there were a couple of moments of mild peril, shall we call it?
Yeah.
But I'm very keen that we don't get any extreme peril in these walks. So do watch your footing here.
Yeah, well, thank you. We'll be fine.
So heading down here.
Gets a little bit noisier here, but I'll soon get you into some quiet ground again.
Okay. Now, I was going to wrap up with asking you about the charitable side, but it sort of moves naturally into asking you. I'm asking each of the those that I'm walking with during this policing friendship tour of mine.
Yes.
To nominate a charity.
Yeah.
That we can encourage people to be aware of and hopefully make a donation to.
Yeah.
What charity, Chris, had you in mind or what charity are you nominating?
Well, I'm going to nominate Road Peace, if I may. Road Peace are a big charity, one of the biggest road safety charities out there, doing a lot of valuable work to represent people who have been bereaved. And Road Peace are directly supporting Andy Cox this week on his run, but of course their work goes way beyond the events of this week and with Andy. And
now we're recording this, as we mentioned, on May the 17th. Now, and we won't be publishing this on Policing Insight for a few weeks.
there's the main doors to Warwick Castle.
So the main door, and doesn't look quite open at the moment,
No, it
does it? I'm
this little,
guessing it's going to open up in the near future. But just on the point about when this is aired, and just let's see if we can capture the street. So it's a sort of a Shakespearean style street in a way, isn't it? So we're not publishing today or tomorrow, but when it is published, still the opportunity to support Andy Cox and Road Peace, and Road Peace is a charity. So please do look at the links on the Policing Insight website, which will be there.
Can I say also another relevant thing this week is that it's the United Nations Road Safety Week, and that's another reason why I thought it'd be apt to
very good
to nominate Road Peace this week.
Excellent. Now we're currently walking down the middle of this street, and there's a car coming towards us. So if we move
road safety purposes,
we head over here. let that pass, and we now seem to be okay both ways. Let's move on to your NARPO
Yeah.
responsibilities. So again, for those outside the United Kingdom, NARPO, the acronym is the National Association for Retired Police Officers.
That's correct.
And so you're on the Warwickshire Committee.
Branch committee, yeah.
So tell us a little about Warwickshire. Sorry, tell us a little about NARPO,
NARPO,
and the work that the NARPO does.
Well, I retired from Warwickshire Police in March of 2013, and I felt it was quite a natural progression to join NARPO. In the last couple of years, the chairman, looking at the younger end of the membership, because here's me, a few months off my 62nd birthday, and I'm probably one of the youngest members of the branch, which is one of the issues about NARPO in terms of getting those who are more recently retired to join the branch. You know?
Yes.
But they do great work, and it's nice to be involved. I take a lot of pride in being the youngest member of the committee in Warwickshire. But it's at the end of the day, it's about. We will have to pause at this point here, but
Okay.
it just gives you a glimpse.
Yes.
I'm going to give you another view of the view of the castle there.
And the St George's flag flying up there. The clock says 6:20. We're not recording this at 6:20, so the clock is not quite right. But it's a little earlier in the afternoon, unless time has absolutely flown
Absolutely.
by. But so yeah, back to NARPO again. So
Yeah,
the work
yeah.
that NARPO does.
It's
You-
principally the welfare of retired officers, and of course, in this last 12 months, that has been absolutely, top of the agenda. And we think in Warwickshire we've been quite progressive. We've set up a structure within the branch so that we've got welfare reps. We've all got a little cohort of certainly the very much older, so that we're in contact with them, we're offering them support, and just letting them know that people care about them and are interested. So that's been sort of like the big focus of the Warwickshire branch, but invariably we're connected to the national issues as well. Which is, I suppose, the biggest national issue is about getting government to have a rethink around pensions for widows, for police widows, because the bottom line is, if you became a widow, yes, you're in receipt of a police pensions, a widow's pension, but if you were to remarry or just become, have a second partner, then the probability is, as I understand it, you're going to lose that pension. And
That's my understanding too.
It's
quite extreme, isn't it?
It doesn't sit right.
There is a very strong financial disincentive
absolutely
to those who are finding their feet and
yeah,
finding a new life with a loved one.
absolutely.
That in order to commit to that relationship, actually there's a significant disincentive,
Very much
financial
so.
disincentive.
And it just doesn't feel right. In this day and age, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So, I'm very understanding and sympathetic to those arguments, but that is being led nationally. And I think nationally as well probably is the arrival of the idea of a policing covenant and getting that established, properly defined. What does it mean? But of course, NARPO, on the basis...
So what does it mean? I'm familiar with the term, but I'm not very familiar with
Well,
what's
for me, I mean, the definition is still to be agreed, but it's taken a leaf out of the military book. There is the military covenant, whereby government, society recognises the fact that, policing is a special role, and people have given up their lives to be part of this special thing called policing. And it's a recognition thereafter that if you have served as a police officer or been involved in policing, that not that you are just looking to our left.
Yes, let's move just to. We are still on the main, although it's a dead end, the main thoroughfare here. So if we just move, right, we'll come to that in a second or two. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a recognition of of being involved in a special vocation, and that therefore the government should recognise that. Now obviously the devil is in the detail, but I'm sure they'll be looking at the military covenants in terms of, I think effectively we're talking about health, welfare.
Yeah, working closely with the Federation on
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah,
area.
and the other associations.
Yes.
And so certainly the Warwickshire branch are very keen to be involved in the dialogue in establishing the detail of the covenant, and ensuring that retired police officers come within the definition.
Okay, Chris, what I think we'll do, we'll pan in a moment to the plaque that is immediately in front of you behind me.
Yeah.
We'll also have another look at the castle.
Absolutely.
Just before I do that, just
Yeah.
remind again the charity that you've nominated.
Charity I'd like to nominate is Road Peace, in recognition of the work that Andy Cox is doing this week. His run from London up to Staffordshire, but more widely the very valuable work that they are doing to support those who've lost loved ones on our roads.
Excellent. Let's take a look. The plaque behind us, put there by Warwick Town Council, relating to the purchase of Mill Street from the Earl of Warwick. It says 1959. That's very recent, actually.
Yeah.
So this was until very recently a private street. It's a beautiful street. With here we go with Warwick Castle. You'd see the battlements behind, flag flying, and then back up there to the to Mill Street, which is very shortly where we'll be heading. But thank you so much, Chris.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute treat
Really
having you
enjoyed it.
guide us round, and I look forward to your
Good luck on your
charity.
next stage.
Thank you so much, and best wishes.